While the human colonies struggled with mysterious disasters, something important was happening behind the scenes. Humanity was not just sitting back and accepting these problems. They were doing what humans do best, adapting and fighting back. Indy. Her laboratory engineer So Young-han had been working day and night on the alien metal fragments. After months of careful study, she had finally made a breakthrough. She had figured out how to copy the alien technology. "Look at this," she said excitedly to her assistant. She held up a small piece of metal that glowed with soft blue light. "I've managed to reproduce the energy patterns from the alien fragments. This metal is 10 times stronger than our best materials." What So Young did not know was that she had just reverse-engineered Council technology that was thousands of years old. The fragments she studied came from destroyed Council weapons. By copying them, she had given humanity access to technology that rivaled the Council's own tools. Her discovery was immediately sent to secret laboratories on Earth. Within weeks, human scientists were building new types of engines, weapons, and armor using So Young's breakthrough. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Min Ho-yoon had been busy with his own investigation. He had analyzed thousands of reports from across human space. His computer had found patterns that proved someone was deliberately attacking humanity. "The evidence is clear," he said during a secret meeting with Admiral Dong-hyun Choi and other military leaders. "We are under attack by an unknown enemy. They have technology that can make ships invisible and create diseases we've never seen before." Admiral Dong-hyun studied the data on his screen. "How powerful is this enemy?" he asked. "Very powerful," Min-ho replied. "They can strike anywhere, in human space without being detected. They seem to know everything about our colonies, our trade routes, and our defenses." But Min-ho had also discovered something else. Hidden in the communication logs from missing ships, he had found brief signals that seemed to come from nowhere. These signals used frequencies that human technology could barely detect. "I think they have been watching us for a long time," he said. "These signals appear in our records going back decades. Someone has been spying on us since we first left Earth." Unknown to the humans, their investigation was beginning to worry the Galactic Council. Council sensors detected the new human technology that So Young had developed. They also noticed that human military forces were changing their patrol patterns and communication methods. "The humans are adapting faster than expected," Council member Zexril reported during an emergency meeting. "They have somehow acquired technology that approaches our own capabilities." Chairman Veltar was not concerned. "It does not matter. Even if they have learned a few tricks, they are still primitive compared to us. We will proceed to the next phase of the plan." But the Council did not understand how quickly humans could learn and change. On Earth, President Jae Sung-ro had been briefed about the investigation results. He immediately authorized a secret program called Project Phoenix. Project Phoenix had 3 main goals. First, develop new technology based on So Young's discoveries. Second, build hidden military bases throughout human space. Third, find and contact other alien species who might be enemies of whoever was attacking humanity. The project was led by Black Operations Specialist Woo Jin-song. His job was to coordinate secret missions across the galaxy while maintaining the appearance that humanity was still struggling and helpless. "We need to make our enemies think they are winning," Woo Jin explained to his team of specialists. "While they believe we are weak, we will prepare for war." Captain Taiman Park received new orders for his exploration ship, the Starlight. Instead of just looking for new colony worlds, he was now searching for ancient alien ruins and artifacts. His mission was to find more examples of advanced technology that human scientists could study. On a dead world at the edge of human space, Taiman's team made an incredible discovery. They found the ruins of an ancient city that had been destroyed thousands of years ago. The buildings were made from the same type of metal that So Young had been studying. "Captain," said his science officer, "the energy readings from these ruins are amazing. This civilization had technology far beyond our current level. Inside the ruined city, they found something even more important. Hidden in an underground chamber was a data storage device that still worked after thousands of years. When human scientists decoded the information, they learned the truth about the Galactic Council. The data contained records from a species called the Carians. They had been destroyed by the Council 3,000 years ago for refusing to accept Council control. Their final message warned future civilizations about the Council's methods and weaknesses. The Council rules through fear and manipulation, the carrion message said. They are powerful, but they have grown lazy and overconfident. They believe their technology makes them unbeatable, but their real strength comes from keeping other species divided and afraid. This information was exactly what humanity needed. The carrion data included technical specifications for Council, weapons and ships. It also contained star charts showing Council territory and the locations of oppressed alien species who might become allies. Diplomat Seung Ho Kang was given a special mission. Using the carrion star charts, he led secret expeditions to contact alien species who lived under Council rule. His job was to find potential allies for the coming war. The first species he contacted were the Mertans, a peaceful people who had been forced to mine valuable crystals for the Council. When Seung Ho's ship arrived at their world, the Mertans were afraid at first. "We cannot help you," said their leader. "The Council will destroy us if they learn we spoke to you." But Seung Ho showed them the human technology that So Young had developed. He demonstrated weapons and shields that could protect against Council attacks. Slowly, the Mertans began to hope that rebellion might be possible. Similar contacts were made with dozens of other species. Most had been enslaved by the Council for thousands of years. They provided valuable information about Council military bases, weapon factories, and troop movements. Scientist Hyejin Nam was working on the most important project of all. Using the carrion data and human innovation, she was developing weapons that could defeat Council technology. Her team discovered that Council shields had a specific frequency weakness that human weapons could exploit. Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons and projectiles, she explained to Admiral Dong Hyun. But they never expected anyone to use quantum resonance attacks. Our new weapons will go right through their defenses. While all this secret activity continued, the human colonies maintained the appearance of struggling against mysterious disasters. Colonial Administrator Hyun-woo Kim played his role perfectly, sending desperate messages to Earth requesting help and supplies. But behind the scenes, New Busan and other colonies were secretly building hidden weapons factories and training facilities. Using underground tunnels and camouflaged buildings, they prepared for war while their enemies watched from space. The Council was pleased with their progress. Human trade had decreased by 60%. Several colonies were requesting emergency assistance from Earth. The Council believed that humanity would soon be desperate enough to accept their generous offer of protection. They had no idea that beneath the surface, humanity was preparing for the greatest war in galactic history. Human engineers were building fleets of advanced warships in hidden asteroid bases. Human soldiers were training with alien allies in secret locations throughout the galaxy. The Council's spies reported that human leadership seemed confused and divided. What they did not know was that this confusion was carefully planned. Every public statement and official communication was designed to hide humanity's true preparations. As the months passed, the gap between what the Council believed and reality continued to grow. They saw weak, primitive humans struggling against superior alien technology. In truth, they were facing a species that had learned their secrets, copied their weapons, and united their enemies. The stage was set for the Council's final move: direct contact and demands for human surrender. But when that moment came, they would discover that they had made the greatest mistake in 50,000 years of galactic domination. The day that changed everything began like any other morning on Earth. President Jae-sung-ro was in his office reviewing reports when his secretary rushed in with urgent news. "Mr. President," she said, her voice shaking with excitement and fear, "we're receiving a transmission from space. It's not from any human ship or colony. The signal is coming from something huge, just outside our solar system." President Jae-sung felt his heart beat faster. After months of mysterious attacks and disasters, humanity was finally going to meet their hidden enemy face to face. "Put the transmission through to the main screen," he ordered. The image that appeared shocked everyone in the room. A tall, thin, alien with silver skin and glowing eyes stared at them from what appeared to be the bridge of an enormous spacecraft. Behind the alien, They could see other strange creatures working at control stations. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Kethron of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your species for many years. The time has come for us to speak directly." President Jae-sung had been prepared for this moment. Intelligence Officer Min Ho-yoon and his team had discovered the Council's existence months ago. Human leaders knew that this contact would eventually happen. "Ambassador Kethron," President Jae-sung replied calmly. "We welcome this opportunity to communicate with you. What brings you to our solar system?" The alien's expression did not change. "Your species has expanded rapidly across this region of space. This expansion has caused problems. The Galactic Council maintains order in this galaxy. For 50,000 years, we have ensured peace and stability among all civilized races." On New Busan, Colonial Administrator Hyun-woo Kim watched the transmission with his staff. Like leaders throughout human space, he had been briefed about Project Phoenix and humanity's secret preparations. He knew his role in the drama that was about to unfold. "The Council has decided to offer your species a great honor," Ambassador Kethron continued. "We invite humanity to become a protected member of our galactic community. Under our guidance, your people will learn proper behavior and take their rightful place in the cosmic order." President Jae-sung pretended to consider this offer carefully. "What would this protection involve, Ambassador?" "Simple requirements," the alien replied. "Human expansion must stop immediately. You will withdraw from all worlds beyond your current 50 systems. Your military forces will be disbanded except for local police. All human technology development must be approved by Council oversight committees." The alien's tone became more threatening. "In exchange, the Council will ensure your safety and provide you with approved technologies. The mysterious accidents and disasters affecting your colonies will stop immediately." This last statement confirmed what human intelligence had suspected. The Council was responsible for all of humanity's recent problems. They had deliberately caused the crop failures, missing ships, and equipment breakdowns. Chief Negotiator Young-soo Lim stepped forward. His job was to handle the diplomatic aspects of this first contact. "Ambassador, this is a significant offer that requires careful consideration. How long do we have to make this decision?" "The Council is generous," Kethron replied. "You have 30 standard days to accept our protection. If you refuse—" The alien paused, letting the threat hang in the air. "Well, let us hope you make the wise choice. Many other species have learned the consequences of defying Council authority." The transmission ended, leaving Earth's leadership to discuss their response. But this discussion was mostly for show. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for months. In secret military bases throughout human space, Admiral Dong Hyun Choi was coordinating final preparations for Operation Shattered Chain. This massive military campaign would strike Council forces across dozens of systems simultaneously. "All fleet commanders report ready," his aide informed him. "The hidden squadrons are in position throughout Council territory. Our alien allies have confirmed their participation in the operation." Admiral Dong Hyun nodded. The Murtans, Carians, and 15 other oppressed species had agreed to revolt against Council rule when the human attack began. Years of secret coordination were about to pay off. Meanwhile, Black Operations Specialist Woo Jin Song was leading final intelligence gathering missions. His teams had infiltrated Council space stations and monitoring posts. They had captured key Council officers and extracted valuable information about enemy military capabilities. The Council has 300 major warships and about 1,000 smaller vessels. Woo Jin reported during a secure communication with Earth. Their main weakness is overconfidence. They believe their technology makes them unbeatable. What the Council did not know was that scientist Hyejin Nam had solved the puzzle of their advanced weapons. Human engineers were now building ships and weapons that could match Council technology. More importantly, they had developed new tactics that the Council had never faced before. On the hidden asteroid base called New Jeju, Admiral Soo-jin Kim was preparing humanity's secret weapon, a fleet of advanced battleships that officially did not exist. These ships had been built using a combination of reverse-engineered council technology and human innovation. The quantum resonance cannons are fully operational, her chief engineer reported. All ships are equipped with adaptive shielding based on the carrion data files. Fighter pilot Kyung-Min Jeon was training with her squadron for the coming battle. They had developed new combat techniques that took advantage of human creativity and unpredictability. Remember, she told her pilots, the Council expects orderly, predictable warfare. They've fought the same way for thousands of years. We're going to show them something completely different. As the 30-day deadline approached, the Council fleet grew larger. More alien ships arrived in Earth's solar system every day. Chairman Veltar wanted to make sure the humans understood the consequences of refusal. Soon they will see our full power, he told his fellow council members. No species has ever rejected our protection when faced with the Grand Armada. But the council was making a critical error. They were concentrating their forces around Earth, leaving their home territories lightly defended. Human intelligence had been feeding them false information that made Earth seem like humanity's only important world. Communications specialist Jun Seo-oh was managing the secret networks that connected human forces throughout the galaxy. His encrypted channels allowed instant coordination between Earth, the colonies, and allied alien species. All units report ready for simultaneous action, he informed the military leadership. When we give the signal, strikes will begin on 67 council targets within the same hour. On the final day of the deadline, President Jae Sung-ro called another meeting with Ambassador Kethran. The alien appeared confident and slightly impatient. Have you reached a decision? Kethran asked. The council's patience has limits. President Jae Sung stood up slowly. Behind him, the flags of Earth and all human colonies were displayed. His voice was calm but firm as he delivered humanity's response. Ambassador Kethran, we have carefully considered your offer. We appreciate the Council's interest in our species. However, we must respectfully decline your protection. The alien's expression changed from confidence to shock, then to anger. You refuse? Do you understand what you are saying? No species, in 50,000 years, has rejected the Council's generous offer. We understand perfectly, President Jae Sung replied. Humanity values its freedom above all else. We will not accept slavery, even if it comes with promises of safety and technology. Then you have chosen destruction, Kethran said coldly. The Grand Armada will reduce your worlds to rubble. Your people will learn the price of defying the Council. Perhaps, President Jae Sung said with a slight smile, but you might be surprised by what humans can accomplish when their freedom is threatened. The transmission ended. Within minutes, alarms were sounding throughout the Council fleet. They prepared to attack Earth and teach humanity a lesson that would echo across the galaxy. But they had no idea that at that exact moment, human forces were emerging from hiding throughout Council space. The greatest war in galactic history was about to begin, and the Council was about to learn that they had made a terrible mistake. The massive crystal structure floated in space around the dead star called Proxima 7. Inside this huge building, 12 different alien races sat in a circle. They called themselves the Galactic Council. For 50,000 years, they had controlled everything in this part of the galaxy. Chairman Veltar stood up. His long, thin body moved like a snake as he spoke. We have a problem, he said to the other council members. The humans are spreading too fast. The other aliens nodded. They had been watching Earth for 300 years. When humans first left their home planet, the Council thought they would be easy to control. Most new space-traveling races took thousands of years to spread to even 10 worlds. But humans now lived on 200 planets. They are different from other races, said Council member Zexrel. Her 4 eyes blinked one by one. They adapt too quickly. They change their technology too fast. They do not follow the normal rules. On the other side of the galaxy, Hyunwoo Kim stood on the balcony of his office. He was the leader of the human colony on New Busan. Below him, the city was growing fast. New buildings went up every day. Human families from Earth kept arriving, on transport ships. Hyunwoo smiled as he watched children playing in the streets. Their parents had come here to build a better life. The planet had good soil for farming and clean water. The humans had turned empty land into a thriving world. In just 20 years, his assistant Minjun walked up to him. "Sir, we got another message from the exploration teams. They found 3 more planets that could support human life." Hyunwoo nodded. This was how humans worked. They never stayed in one place for long. They always wanted to see what was beyond the next star. The council did not understand this about humans. Back at the council meeting, the aliens continued their discussion. They showed holographic maps of human space. Red dots marked every human world. The dots were spreading like a disease across their perfect ordered galaxy. "Look at this," said Council Member Thexano, pointing at the map. "In just 50 years, they have gone from 50 worlds to 200. At this rate, they will have 1,000 worlds in another century." Chairman Veltar's eyes glowed with anger. "This cannot continue. Every other race learns to accept their place. They follow our guidance. They stay where we tell them to stay. But these humans ignore all attempts at contact." The truth was, the council had tried to contact several human worlds. They had sent diplomatic messages offering friendship and guidance. The humans had been polite but not interested. They said they preferred to make their own decisions. This made the council furious. For 50,000 years, every race had begged for their help. Species across the galaxy paid tribute to the council. They followed council laws. They stayed within the borders the council gave them. "The humans must be taught their place," said Council Member Veltar. "We will implement Containment Protocol Epsilon." The other council members looked excited. Protocol Epsilon had never failed. It involved careful planning to make a troublesome race dependent on the council. First, they would create problems for the target race. Then they would offer to solve these problems in exchange for obedience. Far away, Captain Taemin Park stood on the bridge of his exploration ship, the Starlight. His crew had just discovered another star system with planets that could support human life. They were already making plans to survey the worlds and send the information back to Earth. "Captain," said his science officer, "these planets have interesting mineral deposits. The colonies would be very successful here." Taemin smiled. His job was to find new homes for humanity. Every month, his ship and dozens of others like it found new places where humans could live. It was exciting work. Each new world meant new possibilities. He had no idea that alien eyes were watching his ship from hidden sensors placed throughout space. The Council had been tracking human expansion for decades. They knew where every human ship went. They knew about every new colony. On Earth, Dr. Jian Li worked in her laboratory. She studied alien life forms that human explorers had found on distant worlds. Most were simple plants and animals, but sometimes they found evidence of more advanced alien life. Ji Yoon had written many reports suggesting that humans should prepare for contact with alien civilizations. She believed that somewhere in the galaxy, there must be other intelligent species. She was right, but she did not know that these species had already decided humanity was a threat. The council meeting continued for many hours. They made detailed plans for Protocol Epsilon. They would start by disrupting human trade routes. Ships carrying supplies between human worlds would mysteriously disappear or break down. Next, they would introduce diseases to human agricultural worlds. The diseases would be subtle at first. Crops would fail slowly. The humans would think it was natural. Finally, they would influence other alien races to avoid contact with humans. Any species that might become human allies would be warned away or threatened. "Within 2 years," said Chairman Veltar, "the humans will be desperate. They will beg us for help. Then we will graciously offer to make them a protectorate. They will accept our control gratefully." The other council members agreed. They had used this strategy on hundreds of species. It always worked. Civilizations that seemed strong and independent could be broken down through careful pressure. Once they accepted council protection, they never caused trouble again. As the meeting ended, the council members returned to their home worlds to begin the operation. They felt confident and superior. After all, they had controlled the galaxy for 50,000 years. What could one young species do against their power and experience? Back on New Busan, Hyun-woo Kim finished his work for the day. He looked out at the stars and wondered what other worlds humans would discover tomorrow. He felt hopeful about the future. Humanity was growing stronger every day. None of the humans knew that their peaceful expansion had been noticed. They did not know that a powerful enemy had decided to destroy their freedom. They continued their normal lives, building colonies and exploring new worlds. The council began their plan the next day. Across human space, the first signs of trouble started to appear, but they were so small that no one noticed them yet. The war for humanity's future had begun, though only one side knew it. 6 months had passed since the Galactic Council began their secret war against humanity. The effects were starting to show across human space, though most people did not understand what was happening. On New Busan, Hyun-woo Kim stared at the reports on his desk. 3 supply ships had disappeared in the last month. The ships were carrying medicine and machine parts that the colony needed badly. Without these supplies, the hospital was running low on important drugs. "Sir," said his assistant Min-jun, walking into the office with more bad news. "The farming colony on New Seoul is reporting crop failures. Some kind of disease is killing their wheat and rice." Hyun-woo rubbed his tired eyes. New Seoul was supposed to feed 5 other human colonies. If their crops failed, thousands of people would go hungry. "What do the scientists say about the disease?" "They have never seen anything like it before," Min-jun replied. "The plants just start dying for no reason. They tried everything, but nothing works." Similar problems were happening all across human space. On the mining world of New Incheon, the machines that dug valuable metals kept breaking down. The replacement parts they ordered never arrived. Worker families were starting to worry about their jobs. Admiral Dong-hyun Choi sat in his office at Earth's military headquarters. He was reading reports from all over human territory. Ships were disappearing. Colonies were having strange problems. Trade between human worlds was becoming difficult and expensive. "Admiral," said his aide, walking into the room, "we have another missing ship report. The cargo vessel Happy Star left New Gwangju 3 weeks ago. It never arrived at New Daegu." Dong-hyun frowned. This was the 15th ship to disappear in 6 months. At first he thought it might be pirates or accidents, but the pattern was too clear. Someone was deliberately attacking human shipping. "Have we found any wreckage from any of these ships?" he asked. "No, sir. They just vanished completely." "No distress signals? No debris fields?" "Nothing." Dong-hyun stood up and walked to the window. Earth looked peaceful from his office in the orbital station. But he knew that humanity was facing its first real crisis since leaving the home planet. On the research station orbiting New Busan, engineer So Young-han was working on a different kind of mystery. Her job was to study the strange metal fragments that human explorers sometimes found on dead worlds. These pieces were clearly made by intelligent aliens, but no one knew who had created them. "The molecular structure is incredible," she told her assistant. "This metal is stronger than anything we can make, but it weighs almost nothing. If we could figure out how to make this material, it would change everything." So Young did not know that the metal fragments came from ancient council weapons. The council had destroyed many civilizations over the centuries, leaving only small pieces behind. In another part of human space, intelligence officer Min Ho-yoon was beginning to notice patterns that others had missed. He worked for Earth's Secret Service, gathering information about threats to human colonies. Min Ho had created a computer map showing all the recent problems: missing ships, crop diseases, machine failures, and strange accidents. When he looked at the map, he saw something interesting. The problems were not random. They followed specific patterns, as if someone was planning them. "Computer," he said to his artificial intelligence assistant, "analyze the timing of these incidents. Look for connections." The computer worked for several minutes, then displayed its results. "Analysis complete. There is a 94% probability that these incidents are related. The pattern suggests coordinated action by an unknown intelligence." Min Ho felt his heart beat faster. If he was right, humanity was under attack. But who was attacking them? And why? Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was very pleased with their progress. In their crystal headquarters, Chairman Veltar reviewed reports from across human space. The humans were struggling exactly as planned. The agricultural sabotage is working perfectly, reported Council Member Zexral. 7 human farming worlds are now experiencing crop failures. Food prices in human space have increased by 300%. Excellent, said Chairman Veltar. And what about the shipping disruptions? Our hidden ships have captured or destroyed 43 human vessels, said another council member. Human trade is becoming unreliable and expensive. Several colonies are reporting shortages of essential supplies. The council had been careful to make their attacks look like accidents or natural disasters. They used invisible ships to capture human vessels, leaving no trace. They had created diseases that looked natural, but were actually designed in their laboratories. On Earth, President Jae-Sung-ro was holding emergency meetings with his advisors. The reports from the colonies were getting worse every day. Something was wrong, but no one could figure out what. Mr. President, said his chief of staff, the colony governors are asking for help. They need medical supplies, food, and replacement parts for their machines. How much will it cost to send emergency supplies to all the affected colonies? Asked the president. About 50 billion credits, sir, and that's just for the immediate crisis. If these problems continue, the cost will be much higher. President Jae-Sung felt worried. Earth's economy was strong, but it could not support all the colonies indefinitely. If the problems continued, some colonies might have to be abandoned. Back on New Busan, Colonial Administrator Hyun-woo Kim was making difficult decisions. With supply ships disappearing and crops failing on other worlds, his colony was running out of food and medicine. We need to start rationing, he told his council of advisors. Cut food distribution by 25% and limit medical treatments to emergency cases only. The people of New Busan were confused and scared. They had come to this world for a better life, but now they were struggling to survive. Some families were talking about returning to Earth. In her laboratory, So Young-han had made an important discovery. She had found a way to analyze the alien metal fragments more carefully. Hidden inside the metal, she found traces of energy signatures that human sensors had never detected before. This is amazing, she told her assistant. These energy signatures don't match any natural phenomena we know about. Someone is using technology far beyond our current capabilities. What So Young had discovered were traces of council technology. The metal fragments contained microscopic devices that the council used to monitor other species. These devices were so advanced that humans had never noticed them before. Across human space, other scientists and engineers were making similar discoveries. They found strange energy patterns near missing ships. They discovered unusual biological agents in the crop diseases. Piece by piece, evidence was building that humanity was under attack, but the attackers remained invisible and unknown. The council's plan was working perfectly. Soon, they believed, the humans would be desperate enough to accept any offer of help. In his office on Earth, Intelligence Officer Min Ho-yoon continued his investigation. He had requested information from every human colony about their recent problems. The pattern was becoming clearer every day. Someone is definitely targeting us, he said to his computer. But who, and how are they staying hidden? The computer could not answer these questions, but Min Ho was determined to find out. He began making plans to investigate further, not knowing that his curiosity would soon lead humanity to its first glimpse of the truth. The Council's war against humanity was entering its next phase, and the humans were about to learn that they were not alone in the galaxy. The Council's Grand Armada moved toward Earth like a dark cloud of death. 300 massive warships and over 1,000 smaller vessels formed a wall of metal and energy weapons that had conquered hundreds of worlds. Chairman Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, confident that humanity would surrender as soon as they saw this overwhelming force. Begin the attack, he commanded. Destroy their orbital stations first. When they see their defenses crumble, they will beg for mercy. The Council ships opened fire with their most powerful weapons. Beams of pure energy lanced out toward Earth's space stations and defensive platforms. Chairman Veltar expected to see explosions and debris. Instead, something impossible happened. Shimmering energy shields appeared around the human installations. The Council's weapons struck the shields and simply disappeared, absorbed harmlessly into the defensive barriers. "What is this?" Veltar demanded. "How do they have shield technology?" Before anyone could answer, space around the Council fleet began to shimmer. Dozens of human warships materialized from nowhere, their hulls gleaming with unknown metals and strange energy patterns. Admiral Soo-Jin Kim stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Earth's Pride. She had been waiting for this moment for months. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim. Operation Shattered Chain is now active. Show them what humans can do." The human ships opened fire with weapons the Council had never seen before. Quantum resonance beams passed right through Council shields as if they did not exist. Council warships that had been invincible for thousands of years suddenly found themselves helpless against human technology. Fighter pilot Kyung-min Jeon led her squadron in the first wave of attacks. Her small, fast ships moved in patterns that confused the Council fighters. Instead of flying in straight lines like traditional space combat, the humans twisted and spun through 3 dimensions, making themselves impossible to target. "Dragon Squadron to all fighters," she called over the radio. "Remember your training, keep moving, stay unpredictable, and trust your instincts." The Council pilots had never faced anything like this. For 50,000 years, space battles had followed predictable patterns. Ships lined up and fired at each other until one side was destroyed. But the humans fought like they were dancing instead of fighting, appearing and disappearing in ways that made no sense. On the Council flagship, panic was spreading. "Sir," reported a tactical officer, "we are taking heavy damage. Their weapons are penetrating our shields completely. We cannot predict their movement patterns." Chairman Veltar could not believe what he was seeing. How had primitive humans developed technology that surpassed the Council's best weapons? How were they fighting so effectively against forces that had never been defeated? But the battle around Earth was only part of the story. At that same moment, human forces were striking throughout Council space in the largest coordinated attack in galactic history. On the Council mining world of Zirion 4, Commando leader Gi Tae-Lee led his Special Forces team in a precision strike against the planet's defense grid. His soldiers moved like shadows through the Council installations, using advanced stealth technology to avoid detection. "Team Alpha, secure the shield generators," he whispered into his communicator. "Team Beta, take control of the communication array. We need to cut their ability to call for help." The Council guards on Zirion 4 had never faced human soldiers before. They were used to fighting other aliens who followed standard military tactics. But humans were different. They used speed, surprise, and creativity to achieve victory against superior numbers. Within hours, Gitai's team had captured the entire planet. The Murtan slaves who had been forced to work in the mines were freed and immediately joined the human forces. Similar operations were taking place on dozens of Council worlds simultaneously. In space near the Council's main military base, Admiral Donghyun Choi commanded a massive fleet attack. His ships had traveled through hyperspace for weeks to reach this strategic target. The base controlled Council forces throughout this entire sector of the galaxy. "All ships, begin bombardment of the primary targets," he ordered. "Remember, we want to disable their facilities, not destroy them completely. These bases will be useful when we take control of this territory." The human ships unleashed their quantum resonance weapons against the military base. The Council's defensive shields, which had protected the base for thousands of years, collapsed within minutes. Council warships scrambled to defend their most important installation, but they were already too late. Back on Earth, the battle was turning into a complete disaster for the Council. More than half of their ships had been destroyed or severely damaged. The human fleet, meanwhile, had suffered only minor casualties. "This is impossible," Chairman Veltar said to himself as he watched his mighty armada being torn apart. "How can they be so strong? Our intelligence reports said they were weak and divided." What Veltar did not understand was that human intelligence had been feeding false information to Council spies for months. Every report about human weakness had been carefully crafted to hide their true preparations. The Council had been fighting an enemy they did not understand at all. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out on every Council world. The oppressed alien species that diplomat Sung Ho Kang had contacted were rising in rebellion. Armed with human weapons and trained by human advisors, they struck against their Council oppressors with decades of accumulated anger. On the water world of Aquarius, the aquatic nautiloids attacked Council underwater cities with weapons that had been secretly delivered by human submarines. On the desert planet Sandros, the insectoid Chitrak used their natural tunneling abilities to destroy Council installations from below. The Council had always maintained control by keeping different species separated and afraid. They had never imagined that someone could unite their enemies into a coordinated resistance movement. "Sir," a panicked Council officer reported to Chairman Veltar, "we are receiving distress calls from 73 different worlds. Our forces are under attack everywhere. The humans have somehow coordinated simultaneous rebellions across the entire galaxy." Veltar felt something he had not experienced in thousands of years: fear. For the first time since the Council gained power, they were losing a war. Military strategist Yunbi Shin had planned this moment carefully. She understood that the Council's greatest weakness was their overconfidence. They had become so used to easy victories that they had forgotten how to fight a real war. "The key is speed and surprise," she had explained to the human commanders. "Hit them everywhere at once before they can adapt to our tactics. Don't give them time to regroup or call for reinforcements." Her strategy was working perfectly. Council forces throughout the galaxy were isolated and confused. They had expected to fight primitive humans one world at a time. Instead, they were facing a coordinated campaign that struck at every weakness in their empire simultaneously. On the Council flagship near Earth, Chairman Veltar was forced to make the most humiliating decision in Council history. "Signal retreat," he ordered. "All ships withdraw to the outer system." But it was too late for an orderly retreat. Human ships pursued the fleeing Council vessels, destroying them with weapons that seemed to ignore every defensive measure. The Grand Armada, which had terrorized the galaxy for millennia, was reduced to scattered groups of damaged ships running for their lives. As reports came in from across Council space, the scope of the disaster became clear. In a single day, humanity had destroyed the military power that had controlled the galaxy for 50,000 years. Planets that had been enslaved for centuries were suddenly free. Admiral Soo-Jin Kim watched the last Council ships disappear into hyperspace. Around her, the human fleet held formation near Earth, ready to pursue if necessary. "This is just the beginning," she said to her officers. "We've broken their power, but now we need to make sure they can never threaten anyone again." The war that the Council had started to control humanity had ended with the complete collapse of their empire. But the hardest part was still ahead. Building a new galactic order based on freedom instead of fear.